Hello, I'm Veronica Pedrosa in Kuala Lumpur with the top stories on Al Jazeera. An explosion's ripped through a busy market in Pakistan. The blast has killed at least 10 people in a town just south of Peshawar. 15 others are wounded. A 5-year-old civil war in Yemen is threatening to spill into Saudi Arabia. Houthi fighters say they have pictures showing a Saudi soldier speaking to rebels on the Yemeni side of the border. Saudi Arabia denies that its forces have entered Yemeni territory. The rebels also say Saudi warplanes targeted one of their bases in northern Yemen, but the Saudis say they're only driving fighters out of their territory. US and Afghan authorities are investigating whether a NATO airstrike killed 7 members of the Afghan security forces and an interpreter. It happened as NATO forces were searching for 2 missing US soldiers in Badghis province. NATO initially blamed the Taliban, but later said it was possible that the soldiers were hit by a NATO airstrike. The US House of Representatives has passed a key bill calling for sweeping overhauls of the country's healthcare system. The reform was one of President Barack Obama's major campaign promises. The Senate must now vote on the bill. Finance ministers from rich and developing nations have pledged to keep economic stimulus measures in place until a global recovery is assured. But the G20 meeting in Scotland failed to agree on a British-led plan to set up a fund for financial bailouts. They also failed to reach consensus on bearing the cost of fighting climate change. The African Union's placed sanctions on Guinea's military rulers, including travel bans and the freezing of foreign assets. The bans were imposed after troops opened fire at a rally in a stadium in September. The protesters were urging military leader Musa Dadis Camara not to stand in presidential elections planned for January. The Dalai Lama is visiting the monastery town of Tawang in India's northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh. The Tibetan spiritual leader says his visit's only a lecture tour, but it's led to protests from Beijing. The town is near a border disputed by the 2 countries since 1962. More on our website, aljazeera.net/English.